Which One Piece character has the biggest schlong? Part 2. As you may know, the strength of a pirate isn't determined by their bounty or anything canon. It's measured by their pump action yogurt cannon. So in this video, I'll be ranking these 9 characters into a tier list I have named Iffy Selection. If you can guess the character in the tier of Jubilee Watermelon, then I'll joyfully water your melons. That was an innuendo for finishing on your chest, and I'll finish this intro by starting with Crocodile, aka one of the warlord of the seamen. Fun fact, his alias, Mr. Zero, is another alias for Mr. O, because as soon as he penetrates you, you'll be screaming, "Oh, oh," and then after a bit you'll be screaming, "Ow, ow," because his sandcastle absorbs all the moisture in your woo-ha and gives you carpet burn worse than the flying carpet in Aladdin. But how big is his sandy serpent? Well, because his meat curves as much as his hook, it's kinda hard to measure in a straight line. What about a gay line? Yeah, that works. Oh shit, he's huge. Wait, what's happening? Why is it getting smaller? Oh, I get it. Because he's always smoking a cigar, the nicotine is constricting his blood flow and he can't maintain erections. At full length, I'd give him an eggplant, but his cigar is reducing the size of his flesh cigar, so the banana tier is where Crocodile will appear. And a tier rolls down my face when my king Buggy appears. But if I was a girl, a tear would roll down my thigh. Buggy the Clown is one of the funniest characters in the series, and funny guys are compensating for something. Except me, I'm huge. I even got voted as most well-endowed in my school. I'm homeschooled, by the way, so that's even more impressive. Almost as impressive as Buggy's ability to fake his skin flute size. He once flashily flashed his crewmates and showed a sticky as long as Drake. How'd he do this? Well, with his named attack, Chop Chop on my knob, he stacks small chunks of his body onto his Hyman hammer. By doing this, he gained the respect of his underlings. Except you can't fool me, Buggy. I know a fake wiener when I see one. I'll prove it.
Welcome to Sigma Hat Pirate Games. For 1 million berries, spot the fake wiener.
It's that one, because it's bratwurst.
That's correct. You're the wiener for spotting the fake wiener. Congrats on winning this fictional f***ing game.
That was so easy, a baby could do it. Or Buggy, since he has a baby carrot peen. So we'll place him at the bottom. Instead of being at the bottom, Garp was at the top in his prime. Nobody messed with Garp the Fist, or they got fisted. Guys, remind me to mess with Garp after this video. Can we really say that the hero of the Marine was a superhero of peen? Well, let's look at the evidence. Exhibit A, his named attack, Galaxy Divide, was coined from him dividing the walls of your beef curtain till they stretched to different galaxies. Exhibit B, Garp was unfazed fighting Don Chinjao's second head when they clashed. To Garp, that appendage wasn't even close to his middle-sized leg. Exhibit C. Whoops! Didn't mean for you guys to see that. I accidentally pulled from Exhibit C men, not C, but you get the point. Garp's mushroom broom can stretch out your boom. When he's done, he'll release so much goo that you look like a cocoon. And I don't mean to presume, but anything less than a squash tier would be a horrible guess to assume. I swear I was a poet in my second life. Unlike Arlong, who was sentenced to life in Impel Down. But how does our Fishman's fish stick stack up against the rest? Well, fun fact, sharks actually have 2 schlongs called claspers. Arlong calls them his clappers because he can clap 2 girls' cheeks at once. I've mentioned this in a previous video, but fishmen are one of the best breeders in the series because their meat is naturally lubricated so you can slip and slide anytime. So 2 clappers gives him crazy girth, but is that enough to place him in the squash tier? Well, partially. What the hell does that mean, Sigma Hat? You can't just say something ambiguous. You gotta explain the... What the hell? Did you just nut on me? Yeah, I did. Why? You realize we're the same fucking person. This is a skit. A skit? Yeah, it's a skit. A schizophrenic episode. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Alright, I'm up. And as I was saying, he could be a contender if he was in the water. But on land, his meat shrivels up like my meat shriveling up after coming on the voices in my head. So although Arlong does get head, he's not getting ahead of everyone and will be placed in eggplant. Let's keep with the animals and talk about our friendly furry, Beppo. Now I'll be honest, it's a little hard to rate Beppo on this list because he's always wearing that tracksuit. Well, except that one time he wore this. I also pulled that from my Exhibit C men collection. So without much in-show evidence, we must rely on the next best thing, logic. It says here that polar bears can grow Alaskan bullworms up to 7.5 inches. Hey, that's pretty good, but it gets better. You see, when Beppo goes in Sulong, his meat becomes so long as well. And although this buff is temporary, it's enough to place him into the eggplant tier. Okay, moving on to our next psych! You forgot about Beppo's addiction to rumble balls. While he's going through withdrawals, his igloo can't even scratch 6 inches. So Beppo gets digged down from eggplant to a banana boy. I really fooled you guys with that one, but perhaps the biggest fool in all of this was Odin. My man danced naked outside the capital for 5 years. One thing stayed consistent, he needed an entire bathroom curtain to cover his clunge plunger. If we draw a line and account for the bend in his leg, it looks like the cloth comes right above his kneecap. And this is when he was soft. Well, I'm assuming he was soft. He could have been hard if he had a humiliation kink like me. By the way, the most humiliating comment on this video will be pinned. And I'd pin Odin for a squash-sized guy, but we can't ignore the height difference between him and Toki. If he really was squash-sized, Toki would be jumping in a hospital bed rather than jumping in the future. But she's still standing, and you guys are still standing these horrible jokes. So I'll stand proud and cook. Cook Odin and his eggplants in a pot of boiling oil. Odin wouldn't be Odin if it wasn't boiled. And Eustace kid is boiling with rage because he was born with a tiny schmeckle. Now let me ask you guys, is he always angry because he has a small deck? Or does he have a small deck because he's always angry? It's probably the first one, because all angry people have micro pencils. That's why I'm cool as a pickle. The line was cucumber. I can't believe I fucking messed it up. That's so fucking stupid of me. I'm gonna crash out! Hey everyone, I'm back. I just took out my frustration in the gym. As in, I went to the gym and beat people up. And beating people up is how Kid compensates for his kid-sized toy. In his mind, if he's the hardest of the hard, it won't matter if he's the smallest of the small. The one plus I'll give Eustace is that he adds metal parts to his rod to satisfy his partner. Heck, she likes it so much, she might even let him put a baby in her. But for now, the only baby Kid is getting is a baby carrot level. And I'm a level with you guys. My dream is to become the world's greatest swordsman. But in order to do that, I gotta beat Mihawk, aka the world's strongest swordsman. I made a theory a while back saying that swordsmen's swords are in proportion to their meat. If we look at Mihawk's weapon, we see he fights with a BBB, a big black blade, which is why no swordsman has ever come close to stripping Mihawk of his title. And for those of you saying, does that mean dual wielders have two meats? No, that's ridiculous. They're not Arlong. Having multiple swords just shows where you're proficient in gripping your meat. So for Vista, he's good at holding with his left and right hand. And for Zoro, okay, you guys get it. And Mihawk gets all the chicks. Why do you think Perona stayed inside his castle? It's so good this pink goth couldn't get enough. And the insides of watermelons are pink. So that's where we'll be placing our strongest swordsman. But some swordsmen are retired, like Rayleigh, aka Railme, aka Dark Kink. Now bear with me here. Now bear not with me here. Rayleigh may be old, but his Excalibur is good as ever. He calls it that because no girl ever wants him to pull out. A prime example is Shaki, Rayleigh's wife. Rayleigh can drink and gamble all day. As long as he comes back to come on her back, she'll let him be a deadbeat. And that, my friends, is the power of good dick. Call that the will of D. Do we have any indication of his size? Not really, since Rayleigh wears baggy clothing all the time, we can't see an outline. But we do know he swims through the calm belt without a belt. The Sea Kings weren't afraid of his cock hacky, they were afraid of his sea snake. They'd rather not fight against something that big, neither did Kizaru, so they squashed their beef. And I'll squash rank Rayleigh. That's everyone! If you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot if you seek therapy immediately, but not before seeking the subscribe button for more One Piece and anime content. Bye bye!